Hi, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Into Every Life a Little Rain Must Fall. This is about laundry. So I'm crunchy and frugal. I've also lived in places where the dryer doesn't work. I went without a dryer for about a year and a half in our time in Alaska. It's a bit problematic here where humidity is high and warm is scarce. We do have wind though, and we also pay well into the double digits for our electricity. It's about 20 cents a kilowatt. It fluctuates. We have winter rates, we have summer rates, and we also have if you didn't use enough power, here is an upcharge so that we guarantee that we've made a certain amount of money off of you. So I try and bring down our power usage as much as possible, and drying laundry outside is a way to do that. My first place off campus as a college student was a house with 3 other actual adults, as in not 20, 21-year-old college students who were living on their own for the first time. We didn't have much in common before moving to get in together. We were gifted a washer and dryer that were about 20 years old. The heating unit went out in the dryer and we just lived with it as we weren't well off enough to buy a replacement. And none of us actually were handy enough to fix it. Now I think I would try my hand at it. This was before I really knew about YouTube. This was in the 90s. It wasn't like the great helpful YouTube for people walking you through how to fix things. We did have internet though. We had a laundry line and I started hanging out laundry. How hard could it be? Not too hard, but here's some tips for my first experience hanging out laundry. If you can avoid it, don't hang it under a tree, especially with colorful berries. Birds like berries and can poop purple streaks on your brand new white sheets. Learn not to be shy about your undergarments, especially if you forget that the school bus runs about the same time that you are at the line. Your clothes will be crispy, especially if there's not a whole lot of wind. If they dry still, you're gonna have spa quality towels, very exfoliating. Line-dried laundry has a smell to it. Some people love it. I actually kind of don't. The smell is less if you don't leave it out too long. I'm not a fan of scented laundry products, so I just kind of deal with it. Laundry lines can get dirty and transfer that dirt to your clothes, so wipe down the lines before putting your clothes out. Otherwise you end up with like little dark lines where the laundry line was. And so a nylon line is super nice for that because it doesn't pick up the water and hold on to it as long as, say, a cotton one. And even if you have quite a few of them, they always seem to disappear. Do not buy cheap clothespins. I have some great big ones that were amazing for jeans. They were like twice as big as normal ones. I have 2 left after 15 years. As of the time I wrote this, I think I found one the other day and I was super excited about it and I put it on a pair of jeans. Even good ones can break or get repurposed. Currently, they're making forts or closing chip bags or things like that. Cheap ones tend to spring apart when you use them. So you're putting it on the line and it goes doing and falls apart and then you have 2 different pieces, and 3 including the spring. Or they break and the wood can snap and then you have a clothespin, like 3/4 of a clothespin altogether and you can't open it. So it's extremely frustrating to have on a hand on a pair of jeans, which can be quite heavy when damp, and the pin holding the other side springs apart, or the pins pop up after being hung. Maybe you're nearby, maybe you're inside when your damp clothes are on the ground. So if you can, keep an eye on your laundry so that you can fix these things. Line-dried laundry doesn't wrinkle as much as clothes left in the dryer. Some people actually get their clothes out of the dryer as soon as they're done washing and then they fold them and put them away. That's a great way to keep from wrinkling. Some people pull their clothes out of the dryer, wad up in the laundry basket and deal with it later. That is a great way to keep your clothes wrinkling. Hang your colored clothes inside out. The sun will fade them, but they will fade on the inside. And you can add a workout to your laundry. Every time you get a garment, you can do a squat. As I stand, I do a leg lift. Do I care if I look silly? My neighbors already are seeing everything I wear. My impromptu fitness routine is the least of my concerns. Adding an extra spin cycle to the water extracts more water at the end of the washing, reducing drying time. My current washer does not do that. When I look for a new washer, I'm going to make sure that it has that because it is super helpful. especially here where we, like I said, have humidity issues. It's been raining, I don't know how many days, and the foreseeable future is just rain in the forecast. So the humidity is super high and it's like 50 degrees. This is July in Alaska. Oh, last tip that I learned. Make sure you don't have your clothes overlapping any more than necessary. The more layers you have, the longer it takes to dry. Open zippers to add airflow. Hang jackets and shirts opened as much as possible, because what you want is airflow. I have a cat, by the way. Here he is. He is Mama's baby. So that was my first experience drying clothes. So I learned a lot, and then I got better and better and better about drying clothes. I did find out that when you have the multi-line laundry line, you can hang your sheets over that and you can hang your underwear up on the inside. Nobody sees it. That helps. I lived in Colorado where it was dry, and I had fantastic retractable laundry line with the 5 lines. I loved it. I have another one here, but I haven't installed it yet because I haven't really figured out where exactly to put it, and I don't want to install it if we're just going to like move again. Although we have been here for years now, and I think I can find a spot for my line. Colorado was so dry that I could bring in a load about the time the second was done washing. So I could cycle through many loads of laundry in a day. It was fantastic. Also, with the draping the sheets over the top of multiple lines, you can hang your darks on the inside and really keep them from fading. Keep your dark black shirts black. And the fun part is that you feel like you're in a fort, so that's even more fun. And the shade is a nice break on a hot day. A retractable line does not get as dirty as one that's out all the time, but it does sometimes require a little bit more attention to the tension, as you can also mow over the hole that the post goes into if it's removable. Our laundry line, I don't know how old it was. It came with the house. So as time went on, I just needed to pull some of the lines a little more taut as they get stretched out. And it will get stretched out. The laundry, needs some attention. At other rental houses, when I lived in Colorado, I had a line from tree to tree. At one house, they were deciduous trees and quite alive. Deciduous meaning trees that leaf and drop leaves. They would shed dirt and like ooze onto my line. My line at the time was cotton and wicked up the grossness and then spread it onto my clothes. There was one day when I was watering the lawn, I sprayed the tree and it looked like those who have been smokers or around smokers, it looked like somebody rinsing out an ashtray. It was just this dirty, gross water. And so thinking about that, washing onto my laundry line was super gross. It looked like what you would find in a beer can that people have ashed into at a party. So I wouldn't hang the whites on that end of the line if I could help it. In one house, the trees were basically standing dead cottonwoods. So there was no shedding sap or anything. That was kind of nice. And I got lucky as far as birds went most of the time. A few times a year, I would have to rerun an item. And it's a price you pay for hanging under trees, especially. I had to rewash a sparkly skirt of my kids because I had it hanging under trees and a bird pooped on it. So I have to rewash that. So things I learned in my time in Colorado: always check your line and your clothes for cleanliness, including bugs and spider webs. You don't want to pull out something to fold it and find that you somehow missed noticing bird poop. So take a little bit of time as you're bringing it in off the line. And cotton line will stretch and you need to tighten it before end of season. So tie knots that you can undo pretty easily. So, hey, great. Hanging out your laundry is great. But what do you do when winter comes, or it rains, or if you don't have a yard? In college, I learned that you can use a laundry rack. In a shared living situation, you can put the unmentionables on the inside so that they're less obvious. One girl in my dorm dried her darks and never dried her darks in the machine, as she said that they would fade. So, life tips that you pick up. She also reinforced that spandex is also sensitive to to high heat. So it's a bra and panty killer. So you really don't want to dry these things. Leggings are high in spandex. My aunt taught me that anything that's more than 5% spandex, you do not want to dry with heat because it will kill it. So this was actually in college, watching my friend hang her stuff on the laundry rack. It was the first time ever seeing my peer use a non-power drying solution. If you have a floor heat register with forced air, you can put the rack over that and your clothes will dry out a bit faster, and that adds humidity back in the winter. Yay, more bonuses! But you need more than one rack for a normal load of laundry. A portable machine does enough to fit on one rack. The high humidity areas, again, are more of a challenge. I once hand washed a sports bra after a run when I lived in Connecticut, again, coastal areas, higher humidity. It rained for the whole next week. I had hung the bra in a hallway, as my roommate really hated when I hung things in doorways, and I wanted airflow. After 3 days, it was still damp and smelled funky like mildew for the rest of its life. Yuck. Unfortunately, I didn't really notice the smell until the first week out. So sweaty mildew is pretty gross. In Alaska, my line is nylon and it's wrapped from tree to tree, both evergreens. I have another one that's actually, it's a repurposed dog run. So I have it from the line that it hangs from, the tree that it hangs from, and I've actually got it tied to the kids' swing set. It is not ideal, but it works. I had my laundry out one day and it rained, and I was worried that the towels wouldn't dry in the humidity or they would get wet, but they were under the evergreen trees, and so they actually stayed sheltered for the most part. So in winter and on rainy days, I hang it on the racks that I have. I currently only have a rack because the other one died a very sad death. Different little things in the supports broke. It was a cheap rack. I hang shirts on hangers. I use at least 2 to hang down on the hanger indents in the shoulders. So I used to leave the racks in the garage where our furnace was so that they would dry in the warm without being in the way in the house. Our furnace, we have a pretty big garage, and our furnace would heat the whole garage. It was not, we had a water system with baseboard heat, and it's not that the heater was blowing air, it was just that hot that it would keep the garage warm. The queen size sheets are harder to hang. I used to use sweater racks on top of the flat rack to add height, and then I would still have to drape one end on something to keep it off of the floor. I love my sweater racks. There's actually a link in the blog linking to, they were big square things, and they collapsed down. The fitted sheet actually cocoons really nicely around the rack, especially if you have the sweater rack on top. So I try not to run the sheets unless I have to. I have 3 sets of sheets per bed, so I can usually put it off until I have a chance to hang it out. Some people hang out laundry in the frigid weather. I have not done that on purpose, so I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I can't speak to it. But a lot of people will say, oh yeah, it just freezes and you bring it inside and it's fine. I hear it works. On cold days, it is harder to tell if your clothes are cold or wet. So I leave them out a little longer to be sure and let them warm up before putting them away, just to make sure that I haven't missed the fact that they're still wet. When it's warm and nice out, I will fold while I take them off the line so I don't have to handle everything multiple times. And on cold days, I just get it down and get it in as fast as I can. Sometimes because bad weather is moving in or has already started. So when the temps finally got higher above freezing and the snows receded from the tree branches, I went back to the laundry line, glad for a change in scenery during my chores and some saving after a winter of heating bills. The spring's been terribly wet, and even now, just past the solstice, we're still wet for a week at a time and barely above 50 degrees. We, just celebrated 4th of July, which wasn't too bad. Usually that's like our hot week, and then it's getting a little colder. So it's been a lot harder to hang laundry outside, but I run for it when I can. And sometimes I still have to break it in and dry it. The other spring, I learned about the other smells that laundry can absorb. We didn't have it so bad this year, but the melt, with a capital M, or muddy season, is fragrant and not in a good way. The soggy world smells like poop everywhere you go. I'm so glad it wasn't this year. But because that smell is in the air, your laundry will also smell like poop. And so you or your family spend a lot more time in the world. So, speaking of smells, I know that in late summer, when fish processing is in high gear, I won't be able to hang my laundry out after a certain time of the day, as the smell of the processing plant on this end of town permeates everything. You can smell it when you get out of the car at the grocery store, and it's not good. So timing is everything for this. So lessons I have learned in my adulthood is clothes can dry in high humidity, just takes longer, even on cold days. They will even dry with snow on the ground. But I knew that. I have lots of pictures of laundry lines full of baby clothes hanging over snow. It always made me smile, like taking out my laundry in my snow boots in Colorado and putting it up. And it always just made me giggle that I was doing that. Your clothes will absorb all the smells in the area. Dog poop from yards and fish processing plants. If your neighbors have stinky plants in their yard, or if they have lots of dogs, your laundry will end up smelling like their stuff. So think about that. I really miss our retractable laundry line a lot. I will install it one day. It was actually a baby shower present from one of my best friends. So I will reinstall it because I really want to use it again. It's, it's 5 lines. It just allows you to hang out a lot more laundry. Just this one line strung from tree to tree, and then that other one, I can get out maybe a load of laundry and then a load of delicates. And having a sparkly child means that I have a lot of delicates, a lot of sparkly delicates. I found out that you don't want to wash her sparkly clothes in the load with everything else because Dad's sweater ended up very sparkly one day. Oops. Learn life lessons. More things that I've learned. Trees can help protect your clothes from bleaching and rain. Trees can shade them, slowing the drying time. It's a trade-off. Nylon line stays cleaner than cotton, wipes easily. It also stretches less. Plastic coated line wipes really nicely, but it is harder to tie around things if you're having to tie your laundry line, say, to trees. So not everyone can have a line. Many municipalities have rules against them. Not everyone has a yard. So racks are an option. I only have the small folding ones that you can buy at Walmart. They don't dry as much clothing, but they will still provide a lot of the benefits listed above, keeping your clothes lasting longer, not fading, not shrinking, oh yeah. And they're super breakable, and they're not really great for moving around when they're loaded. Of course, I will load them in the house and take them outside and bring them back in and move them around, but they're cheap. I do dream of one of the largest ones with the large flat platforms. You can hang your clothes on them, or sheets, or do a lot of sweaters, which I wear a lot of sweaters. No, so there is, for more information on the legality of outside lines, there's a www.bestdryingrack.com/right-to-dry-laws.html. And so that's right to dry laundry lines. And so you can figure out, are you allowed to dry your laundry outside, or is your neighbor just trying to be stinky? So I will have another post on tips and tricks for hanging, or rather my weird ways of doing it. This one is just for promoting solar drying. And there are a lot of places that have a lot more information on how to hang laundry, how to do laundry inside. I am really not trying to do that here because, like I said, it's a battle against the humidity. I have a large laundry basket full of delicate wash that I need to do. Because as a crafty person, I knit. So we've got all those knits that need washed, and then the sparkly things, and then the fancy lacy things, and I just, yeah, I can actually sort my delicate laundry out into darks, whites, colors, pinks, red bases. We have a lot of it, and I'm just waiting for a break in the weather so I can hang it out. Really looking forward to that. So, doing official research, a la the interwebs, I have found things that have backed up my experience that the sun bleaches stains, making great for cloth diapers and other stains. It may do it casually, it may do it slowly, it may do it faster, but it also bleaches colors. So having a line or times in and out of the sun is helpful for the longevity of your clothes. Laundry racks are useful because they can be moved as needed, and I keep my darks shaded and my whites in the sun. There is the old things that I've read that talk about people would wash their lacy whites, like their fancy tablecloths, and then hang them on bushes to dry, because the plants would even help bleach it too, or people would lay them out in grassy yards. It's because it's in the sun, and then the plant helps dry it. I was surprised to learn that the moon can also fade laundry. Didn't know that. That was what my research said. And something germane to a lot of people is mold and allergens can be brought in from your outside laundry, as well as annoying odors and bugs. A way to get around that is give them a good shake, or you can run them through the dryer if you have one, and then just it kind of pulls some of that stuff off. Hang sheets so that they are not folded in half. You can hang them so that they're overlapped, like a short side and a long side, or as you wish. And if you can, hang so that the longer edge gets blown out, so you know which way the breeze is coming from, which you can feel as you're drying, or just watch your sheets and see which way they blow. And then hang it so that the longer part of it is hanging out. Of course, they will be folded over the line, but you don't want 4 layers or 2 perfectly even halves. An uneven fold makes it so that wind can move the sheet. So, oh, look, here is a washcloth. So you want it hung like this, or sometimes I will do weird wonkiness and do my diagonals. And this is a square. You get a little less diagonal, but then you can see that, not very well, that it's not overlapping itself completely. The wind can get in behind it. Make sure that your clothes don't blow into anything nearby, whether it is the dirty slide on the play structure that you've hung your laundry line onto, or the tree next to it, or trash cans, whatever. Just make sure that your laundry is not going to blow into it, because the world is dirtier than your laundry is. To make the job easier, don't hang the line too high. This is fancy. And use some kind of wheeled tool to move the weight of the wet clothes. A caddy that hangs from the clothesline for the clothespins makes pinning more of a smooth operation. You don't have to bend down to get your clothespins. That's my kids' chores, to hand me the clothespins. A milk jug with a slit in the handle goes over the lines nicely, and an opening large enough for your hand is a good guideline. I didn't think about it. Mine's over there. I could show you. So there's a website, Green and Growing, gives us all these benefits to hanging laundry. Financial, and 45 cents a load, it does add up. It reduces your carbon footprint by 2,400 pounds a year, reduces fire risk, as dryers are a common cause of household fires. Your clothes don't get beaten up by the dryer and will last much longer. Whiter and disinfected clothing without harsh chemicals, in the sun. Less static cling with no tumbling, reducing need for dryer sheets and more chemically stuff. And you get the mental health boost from being outside getting exercise. And it slows you down to work on the chore. So you're really more in the moment and what's going on. And it's a little less of a frantic chore. It's not, shove it in, shove it out. It's, you're really outside and you're paying attention to the world. And it's kind of a break in your day to hang out the laundry. I like it. And this says that 15 minutes of hanging laundry or removing it from the line burns 68 calories. Cool. Line drying increases in winter humidity indoors, which can soothe nasal passages and lower the risk of illness. Unless you live in a very humid area, in which it takes a day or so for items to dry, risking mold and mildew. So figure out where you live and what it's like. Dryers can account for 12% of your home's energy. So skipping using the dryer can really reduce your power bill. And some tips for winter drying. As with warmer weather, you want to put the laundry out on dry, sunny days. A breeze is helpful. Cold weather adds to the drying time, but frozen laundry is still dry laundry. The moisture still evaporates. Give them a shake or a fluff in the dryer for 5 minutes. And I've been known to do that to my towels in the summer. Like I said, on still days, they have a more exfoliating effect if they aren't beaten or fluffed up a bit. Specialty fabric, like those with plastic, like diapers with PUL, polyurethane laminate, should not be exposed to extreme temperatures. No high heat, no freezing temps. I used to love to hang out the little baby diapers because the sun bleached the stains, and I knew that I wasn't running the outer shell through really harsh treatment with the heat of the dryer. And also it was a whole lot quieter not having to listen to the tumbling of all of those tiny little snaps. And let me scroll through. Yeah, okay. So that's basically the it's of drying laundry outside, and I really miss doing it, and I'm looking forward to getting to do it again soon. Not soon, maybe in the next week or so. But in the meantime, I hope you get a chance to make use of my experience and save yourself some laundry expenses and give yourself a little break in the day getting outside. See you next time. Oh, and because this is YouTube, if you like or subscribe, and go ahead and share with other people. So learn from my experience. Thanks. See you.